Welcome to Shore Perspectives, a community feature of WESR Radio, highlighting the spirit of the shore from those who call it home.
I'm Abby Fiege, and I'm from Anancock, Virginia. I graduated from Nandoa High School in 2013 and moved on to James Madison University and graduated from there in 2017. When I moved here when I was 4 years old, so I am technically a come here, but I was raised here, so I started attending Camp Akahanik on the Bay when I was just, I think, 6 years old, and I was big fan, and back in the day I used to get really homesick going to camp, and I was so nervous to step out of my comfort zone and experience those new things, but I always stuck it out. I got positive letters of encouragement from my parents and family and made it through. And every summer I was a little less homesick until it came to the point where I wanted to be there all summer and be a counselor and stay there and help the kids the way the counselors had helped me in my youth. So that was a really big growth experience for me, just being able to step outside of my comfort zone. And then that led me again to going to different camps. I've worked at a number of different camps all across the country. And I have been a counselor and an instructor in the outdoor education industry, which is basically summer camp plus curriculum. So I had a variety of experiences directly working with the youth, and then was able to work my way up the food chain and held a lot of various administrative positions, coordinating positions, and staff support positions. So supervising and advising counselors throughout the past few years and giving them advice on how to get their kids to step out of their comfort zones and how the counselors themselves can step out of their comfort zones and learn something new and exciting. My lifestyle over the past few years since graduating from James Madison has been quite an adventurous one indeed, very bohemian, I would say, where I've been traveling from coast to coast due to the nature of the work that I do in the summer camp and outdoor education industry. So in those industries, it's very seasonal lifestyle, normally fall, spring, summer seasons. So I was actually going between Southern California during the school year and then Maine during the summers. So literally one point of the country to the opposite point of the country. And because of the nature of the residential camps and lifestyle, I was saving a lot of money despite it being a rather low earning job as far as the actual money goes. I was saving on rent and food and utilities. So in those breaks and in between sessions, I would be able to explore and adventure. And at this point, I've actually driven across the country 5 times, 3 of those times being by myself. And a lot of people are always like, how do you have the bravery to go out there by yourself, completely alone in the middle of the country? And I think it's due to the nature of summer camps and having had that experience of having to go out as a camper on my own, going out to California post-graduation and for my job, and being able to take those big leaps. And because of that confidence that was instilled in me, I was able to say, I'll figure it out, I can make it, and I have a really awesome community and support system. And now that support system is also all throughout the country because of, again, the nature of the work and people coming from all over for that job. So I'm able to visit people as I drive across the country, see friends in different states and areas, and experience a lot of the cities, the mountains, lakes, and small towns and deserts. It's been awesome. I came back home for my family. I've been, obviously on the opposite coast all over the country for the past 6 years. So I figured it was time, I'm in my upper 20s and time to revisit family and where I grew up and revisit this community, because I do find that coming back to the shore, you always find a really strong and supportive community, which I also brought those values out into my adventures. I always wave to people while I'm driving and say hello when I pass someone on a sidewalk. Sometimes I just get a weird stare, and sometimes it's engaging, which is exciting. But yeah, so I was excited to come back, and one of the first connections that I made when I came back was actually Ashley, the director of ESO Art Center. And she was talking about how she's interested in more teachers coming. She's always looking for more teachers and more classes. And so I wound up being the day-to-day coordinator for their summer camp program that was in the middle, towards the end of June. So I was able to work full on with ESO and Ashley and the students that attended that camp. And then during that, I was able to build a relationship with Ashley. And we actually, ironically, we worked at brother and sister camps in Maine, we found out. So I worked at the all-girls camp, and she worked at the all-boys camp way back in the day. So we bonded over that, our summer camp experiences. Of course, small world. Of course, we both worked within proximity of each other in Maine, of all places. And she had brought up that she was looking to do an after-school program, and that, there's been talks about wanting one. There's not a whole lot of options for after-school programs on the shore. And she said ESO would be a place where that could potentially thrive. And I said, okay, well, let me think about it and figure out what kind of program I could put together. And I had full reins on creating the program. So my mind went big puzzle mode, where I pulled from all of my different camp experiences as a counselor, as an administrator. I also pulled from my college experience at JMU. I studied communication, and I did research on the values of learning at summer camp versus learning in the classroom, which is actually what led me to get into outdoor education as well. But we're starting an after-school program that is two separate programs, but kind of combining into one. So we have the Rooted After School Leadership Program for older youth, 12 through 15-year-olds, which focuses on communication skills, initiative, being a leader, setting a good example, and honing in on those really good core values of honesty and respect and integrity. And they'll have that individualized time with me before the younger students arrive. And then at that point, the older students can be mentors for the younger students. And we'll focus on reflecting on our days at school and talking about, what we're learning about and how we've been feeling throughout the day, and do journal entries. And then once that passes, I'll kind of read the energy of the students. So it's a structured program with flexibility, because I believe that students need structure, but they also need to be met where they are for that day. So being able to have that first 30 minutes of individualized attention, checking in with how the day has gone, and then I pull from my roster of all of these fun activities and team building games and some silly songs and creativity, and customize the day-to-day based off of what the students are feeling. So I've already started collecting my list and writing down all of these activities and ideas that I've had from the various camps and programs that I've worked in. And I'm super excited to apply it all to this values-based learning program that I realized I was passionate about during my college studies. The program begins on September 12th. And it will be a 12-week program where we won't be running 1 week in mid-October and then Thanksgiving week. But other than that, it's Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursdays, beginning on September 12th, from starting at 3 p.m. for the older students, because they get out of school a little bit earlier, and then 4 p.m. until 6. They can enroll by calling ESO Art Center office, or they may reach out on the website and press register and sign up. The most important lesson that I've learned throughout my experiences has been to never judge a book by its cover. always treat people the way that you want to be treated. And if you are not receiving that in return, then just step away and keep moving on. I think it's really important to be open and inclusive to any ideas and thoughts that people may bring to the table. And I've been teaching this to the kids in my programs of, you have one brain, and that brain can only do so much without sharing ideas and collaborating with other people. And that's how we get the biggest and best ideas, is by collaboration. So I want to instill that value in the youth on the shore and have some really awesome, friendly, inclusive future leaders on the shore.
For Shore Perspectives and WESR Radio, I'm Kelley Gaskell.